Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to fit a boost gauge to a 2006 Mitsubishi K74 L200 or Triton, depending on what country you live in. So eagle-eyed viewers or people who have subscribed to this channel already might know that I've already got a boost gauge in this truck, which has been installed in various precarious locations, usually utilising cable ties. Well, today we're upgrading that gauge because Amazon cheap gauges are cheap for a reason. They are terrible. This one above, about 5 psi a boost. The needle physically and audibly rattles. It's actually almost undrivable without turning the radio up. So today we're upgrading to this, which is probably a little bit of overkill for an old truck like this. This is a stack gauge. As you can see, it's 80 odd pounds. A professional gauge, a real gauge, so this will give us a more accurate reading, but also shouldn't rattle like a £10 Amazon gauge. Now, some of you might know how to do this already. This, might be a relatively simple thing, but for me, I look up online on the forums and owners pages things like where to tap into the vacuum lines to get the boost gauge reading. I like to look at pictures and videos of that in real time to see how to find it in an engine bay. Sometimes you'll see a picture on the forums online and it's right up close of a hose somewhere and you can't figure out where it is, so I like a video to show me exactly where in the engine bay I'm trying to go. So hopefully this will be of help to someone out there. If not, stick around, I'm sure this will go to plan. It could be entertaining. So getting this stack gauge out of the box, this is what you get. I ordered this from Demon Tweaks in the UK. I ordered about 6 PM at night and arrived next day, and that was on the standard delivery option, so highly recommend those guys. So this is a nice kit. You don't get stuff like this on Amazon. We have brass fittings, a nice T-piece with a screw-on fitting there for these, which I'll probably need to undo my original vacuum lines. Instructions, some rubber grommets as well for passing your hoses through the firewall, which is great, and of course stickers ×2. So here is my gauge itself. It's notably a lot heavier than the Amazon cheapie that I've got down here, and it comes with this bracket for fitting in a kind of just a cut out hole, but we'll be using an Amazon boost gauge holder. Let's hope it's better than the Amazon gauge. We'll be using an Amazon boost gauge holder, which just slides into the pod and a little rubber ring holds it in. So this will, the existing gauge is currently cable tied to my cup holder, so hopefully this will free up my cup holder for holding cups. Oh yeah, it's here. So we've just got this little gauge holder here. There's a little hole for passing the lines through. Tidy things up a little bit. God, it is really warm in here. I shouldn't be wearing a jumper. Alright, so this gauge comes with this super thin vacuum line, which will require these fittings. This will not, work on a standard T like we have here. It will not fit on this end because it's so small, so you need to install this part with the little narrow fitting in the end. As usual, my inability to read the instructions before starting a video like this has caught me out yet again. I do this so you don't have to. So the instructions, because this uses these nice little proper fittings, and not, you know, just push on vacuum hose like the cheap gauge. It calls for Teflon sealing compound, it calls it in the instructions, so plumber's tape to mirror you. So if you buy one of these stack gauges and you're going to install it, make sure you have some plumber's tape to hand. I do not right now, so, and I can't really leave the house at the moment, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Alright, so I'm going to crack on just now until I can go and get plumber's tape. So I'm going to start by removing this professionally installed boost gauge. If you want to know what to expect from this channel, this type of quality is what we embody here, so don't be surprised, be inspired. So I'm going to be using this wiring that I've already installed to power the backlight, so we will be keeping that. This old plastic style vacuum hose here that came with the Amazon cheapie will be going in the bin. Somebody's got the tunes on, you can tell it's summer, or coming into summer. Right, so we'll get this vacuum hose off. So what I did when wiring this is I tapped into a 12 volt switch, and I'll show you an easy way to do that. If I remember correctly, just pop this off, and in here we have the switch for the cigarette lighter. So I've just T-tapped into that, and then we've got and ran some wire through. So I've got quite a lot of spare there. Maybe we'll update this. Or maybe we won't, because let's be honest, it's kind of how we're doing things. Oh yeah, for the earth as well, I've actually just there's a bolt passes through here for the center console. I've actually just went onto that hole there, which grounds onto this metal bracket. So we've just got one T-tap on what looks like the blue and white wire for the cigarette lighter. That is a switched 12 volt. So that'll give us our backlight all the time, anytime the engine's on. So for the pod mount, I've decided I'm going to stick it right here. It doesn't interfere too much with the gauges, it's kind of right in the middle of the two. So we're just going to take the self-tapper that came with this and drive it right into the plastic. No pilot holes here. So I'm just going to make sure I get it central and straight. Yep, happy. Gotta love self-tapping screws. Oh! Right, so now I've just got to make sure I get this dead straight. That looks straight. And straight away that is installed. It's more secure than anything else on this vehicle. Nice. I'll need to go and grab my wire cutters, but until then we've got tin snips. Yeet! So if you see these on eBay, I don't know if you can make it out there, it says turbo at the bottom. There are multiple sellers of these gauges on Amazon or eBay. They must all come from China. They suck ass. Avoid, just buy a better one. I thought I was just buying a cheap one for this truck and it would do the job, but it is so annoying. So annoying. Right, I guess, no, I won't. Well, I'll just show you how it'll look. So if that goes on about there, we'll have our pod right here. Bring you in. There we go, I think that's a good location. Keeps it right in the eye, and it's also not, you know, it's not up on the dash, making it obvious that you've spent some money. So yeah, just there's fine. So next we will head into the engine bay. I need to remove the vacuum line that I've ran through already for that old gauge. I'll show you where to tap in, and I'll show you how I routed the line through the firewall, actually through an existing grommet, so it'll save you drilling any holes in the firewall. Alright, so coming into the engine bay, at the back of the intercooler here, this is the engine's boost sensor. So you have a vacuum line coming down here, so you follow that just to the easiest location to tap onto it, which you can see I did here. So it runs into this hard pipe, closest one to you, that's bolted on here. So you can see my black hose here, you can see I've routed it up the back, and I'll show you how I took that in just down here. So we have a big, oh ignore this, was doing some diagnostics and haven't taped that back up yet. So the main engine loom comes through here, and you can see at the side there's this little circle here. It's just here. It's normally blocked off. It has a, you know, it's a solid rubber casting, but you can pierce that hole and feed this through. Now this thick vacuum hose was quite hard to get through there, so when I take this out, that new thinner line should slide through that easily. Might even need to add some silicone to keep it watertight now, but if you're installing that thin line for the first time, you can just, you know, pierce that hole with a very thin screwdriver and should be watertight. So chapter 39 of the instructions is feeding the vacuum line. So we've actually got a ton of room in the L200. There is a big open space behind the centre console to feed through over the transmission tunnel and through that grommet that I showed you earlier. So what I've done for the moment is just put that fitting on the end to hold this in the gauge, and then we've just got to run this down, 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 around and under and through. So let me show you real quick what we're working with. So down under here, like you see, you can see daylight through there, tons of space to go through, lots of things to attach cable ties to and feed all the way around to the other side here and up and out. It'd be great if this was all, you know, straight and not curly whirly. It's not making it any easier, so I'm just going to stuff it through. Can you reach this from the other side? Yeah, you, I'm talking to you. Yeah, can you reach this from the other side, pull it through? Oh my god, it just came back like a spring. For goodness sakes. This is why people pay mechanics. Oh, stay there, stay there. Oh, I think I can get it from there. Please. Alright, if you're not going to help me, I'll do it myself. It'd be easier if, you know, this was all tidy. That'd be nice. Yeah, boy! Come on now, don't be shy. Scratch all of that, delete it from your memory, because it's actually way easier to feed it through from the firewall side first. So I'm being transparent. I'm showing you when I mess up, and that is a mess up, because the the grommets higher than where you know, if you feed it in from the firewall side, you can push it down to the floor well. It's almost impossible to do it from the other side, to do it from down here, trying to get up behind there and push it out. No, so I'm gonna start again. Okay, so here we go, exactly as planned, as discussed, as per my previous email. We're going through this hole here. Again, ignore this, like, this is a build these days, like, it's custom, yo. Find the hole. That's what she said. Right, I've got to try and find that on the other side. Let me know if I start pulling it through, okay? No, forgot there's actually like a bit of sound deadening or something behind here as well. It's probably struggling to get past that. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? No, I can't. Okay, goddamn, got there eventually. This is by far the hardest part, so I'll try and show you up there. It's near impossible to even show you. But you can just see the white collar there of the multi-plug where it comes through from the engine bay, and I've pulled back a little bit of the sound deadening, as you can see, so to kind of rip that back to get access up there. I tried pulling it down with some long nose pliers. I could just get up with a straight set, but actually trying to pull it down, that hose is so thin that the pressure from the grips actually just snapped the hose off a couple of times. So managed to work it from the engine bay, because it's like a tightly wound coil still. Managed to get it facing down and just felt for no resistance, and then I managed to feed a lot of it through, and then here we go, we met it at this side. So I'm just going to feed this through to where I need it, like I said, you know, like we did a minute ago when we done it the wrong way. We'll feed it through the over the transmission tunnel there up to the steering wheel, and then I'm going to dive out and get some plumber's tape so we can get this finished today. Yay. We are back. I got some PTFE tape, so hopefully that'll take care of those threads. I've went ahead and thread the vacuum hose through. I've also fed this wiring through, so firstly I'm going to put some terminals on that, because the back of the gauge takes spade terminals, so we will pop some of these on first, and then we'll get the vacuum line on and then pop it in. Give him a little crimp. You know, this is why I was hopeless as a panel beater, because a 10-minute job took me all day. Really, really did. Like, I'm just being honest. And I'm not even a perfectionist, like, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? Right, so the instructions call for some tape on the thread side. It's pretty standard stuff, I guess. I mean, there's probably a really standard way to use this stuff, and I'm not aware of it. I thought it was sticky. Doesn't seem to be. Probably a good idea not to block the vacuum port on the top, right? Okay, I mean, that's as good as that's going to get. So, get my fitting. Inside there's a little compression thing. I mean, I don't know the name of it. This tiny little piece So we'll feed these onto the pipe first. There we go. And then we need to put the tiny little fitting on as well, which is not so easy when the pipe's been kind of cut already. It's a little bit out of shape, but there we go, got it on. So now we just, what's next? Oh no, the adapter. So goes in the little side, pop it in, and let's bring these guys down. And then I'll grab a couple of spanners to tighten that up. Some potentially useless information unless you bought this exact gauge. 10 and a 13mm spanner needed to tighten up this fitting. I don't want to go too tight on it, it's just brass. I think that's me confident with that. Pipe's not coming out the back. Right, so now let's put it on to our gauge, which we might need a 15 for that end as well. Oh, have I just made an arse of this because now it won't spin unless I spin the gauge. It looks like we're spinning the gauge on. I wonder if it says anything about how tight to make that. There's our instructions. Oh, it does. Do not over tighten adapter fitting or gauge may be damaged. So I don't want to go too tight on this old boy. Maybe just a little bit more over ton. Nah, that'll do. I'm sure that'll work just fine. Okay, so let's pop our plugs on, which we'll be able to check straight away. So yellow is my red, so that goes to 12 volt. And black is my ground. There we go, so let's pull that through. And let's see if this little, oh, did I just pull it right off? Oh no, pulled the ground right out the spade. So the pipe's wanting to go straight out the back, so we might need to make a new hole in this or something. Because yeah, my fitting comes out straight and this hole's down the bottom. And it's not quite deep enough. Sweet install, yo. Okay, let me figure this out. Alright, good thing I bought a step hole cutter yesterday for something else. It's coming really handy for this. So there's the original hole, here's our new hole, which should keep our pipe nice and straight, and the wiring as well, I guess. So let's get back into it. Hoping I've not already messed up this fitting by using it already. It's a little out of shape. Right, I said I was going to be honest with you, so these little brass fittings, they kind of compress to hold the vacuum line in and stop it pulling out. They seem to be pretty much single use. This one, well, you've seen I had to take it off there, so learn from my mistakes. I've had to try and heat this and kind of waller it back out to try and fit it through a hose again, and let's hope it works. So once these are on, so make sure you put them on when you're sure everything works. Make sure you're ready to use it. So let's try and get this in eventually. Well, this is why I do these videos. I do them to show you how easy things can go wrong. I mean, this is just a positive and a negative wire for the light, and a hose that you just tap into, you know, the ECU's boost pressure sensor. The little brass fitting I have royally messed up. This was attempt 2. It is useless now. It's absolutely gubbed. And I don't think Demon Tweaks, who I ordered the gauge from, holds spares. I need to look into that, and it seems to be finding a replacement fitting. It's a 1/8 inch NPT compression fitting. Seems to be quite hard. Definitely not going to get one today. It's past 5 o'clock on Saturday, so I guess in the next clip it's going to be days later. However, so the kit comes with 2 fittings because you need one for each side. So I swapped out the one good one that I've got and put it on the boost gauge side. So here's what we're looking at. Let me turn the light on. I don't know if you can even see that. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's what it looks like. So stay with me for a second and we'll see what it looks like with boost, hopefully. Alright guys, so we're back. So I actually managed to find an Amazon seller that could get me a steel fitting next day, so we're not off the road for too long. The only problem is I could only get a male end, so I managed to find a female to female adapter. So this is what we're looking at now. A bit of a longer setup than was intended with the little brass fittings, but this is a compression fitting for a 1/8 inch pipe. So let's get it on. Alright, so I've fed it through and I've got it trimmed to length. So our T-join's about here. So I'm going to put it on this side first. So I've got this is actually a double compression fitting, this one. So I've got it lined up already, so I'm just going to slide it through. He hopes, he says. I just snipped it there, so it's a little out of shape again, but let's make it round. I just tried this a second ago and it worked fine. I've moved about a little bit. There we go. Right, so there we go, we're all the way home there, so let's tighten this up a little bit. I'll grab my spanner. Couldn't remember the size, so brought them all. So I think there were 12. I think we need 2 12s here actually. Yes. But I've only got a 12 and a 13, so we'll make do with that. Okay, I think we're good there. Doesn't look like the hose is trapped or kinked, so this is the last part. We just got to slide our vacuum hoses back on. So let's get a bit of lube. A bit of spit will do the job. There's one end, and the other end is hanging here. There we go. She's lubricated. And there we have it. Now, I'd planned at this point to show you it working, you know, take it a quick test drive. But you'll notice here, I got impatient while we were waiting for that fitting last night. There's a piece missing here on the intake side of the turbo. Now, I've got something planned here. So, in our next video, we're going to take, you can see I've already been playing with this wiring here. This is for the variable geometry solenoid. We are going to try and do away with that factory solenoid, and we're going to try and fit this, which is a this is a manual boost controller for diesel engines, specifically for engines with variable vane or variable geometry turbos, which is what we have, variable geometry. So I've never seen anyone fit one of these before to an L200, so this will be interesting to see if I can get this to work. If I do get it to work, it will control this independently of the ECU. It will control the variable geometry independently of the ECU. So stay tuned for that one, guys. Thanks for watching, appreciate it very much. I'll see you in the next one.